Chairman Casey, Ranking Member Braun, and the members of the committee, thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you today. The testimony I give here is reflective of my own views and is not intended to reflect the positions of the University of Virginia. My name is Peggy Plews-Ogan, and I am first and foremost the wife and caregiver to my husband, Jim. We are both physicians. On December 2nd, 2021, our lives cracked open. Jim was diagnosed with ALS. At the time, we were both busy clinician scholars. Our lives were full with meaningful work, close family, a community of friends. With this diagnosis, our lives were completely upended. What I remember from medical school about ALS is that it's a diagnosis that a physician dreads more than ever, more than any other. Why? ALS is a disease that robs a person of almost everything essential to living our lives, the ability to move, to communicate, to eat and drink, and eventually to breathe. But the double-edged cruelty is that awareness and cognition are left intact. Persons living with ALS can feel each loss and fear the next one every moment. ALS is 100% fatal. No one has ever survived. Average life expectancy after diagnosis is 2 to 5 years. When given this diagnosis, patients commonly hear, "Go home, hug your loved ones, and get your affairs in order." People worry about giving patients false hope, but I think they don't understand the devastation of having no hope, of simply waiting for the inevitable decline. Both being physicians, we were not naive about ALS. But having no hope was not an option for our family. So like many ALS families, we got moving. We read, we investigated clinical trials, we got involved in advocacy. One unacceptable reality we faced was that the disease moves faster than the FDA. AMX 0035 was a drug in the pipeline that had excellent safety and better evidence for efficacy in a phase 2-3 trial than anything that was currently available. But it was initially denied approval by the FDA, who wanted an additional confirmatory phase 3 trial. This drug is a combination of two drugs that had been on the market for many years. One that was over the counter. The only way to obtain the medication was to get the one component, TUDCA, it's called, online, and the other component from a specialty pharmacy in New Jersey off-label, at a cost of around $1,500 to $3,000 a month. Most of our friends in the ALS community could not afford this. Only after fierce advocacy did the FDA take another look at the data and approve it, thankfully. Over 2 years after the results of the clinical trial were clear. What does that 2 years mean for an ALS patient? 2 years ago, Jim was running races. He was the chief medical officer for a new integrated care network for children across the state of Virginia. He started a new program at UVA to care for medically complex children. He had a thriving pediatric practice full of kids and parents who adored him. Today, he is confined to a wheelchair. He needs help to eat. He cannot roll over in bed or even scratch an itch. He is losing his ability to speak. Inside the body that is failing him, Jim is the same brilliant, compassionate, creative, loving human being. The courage he displays every day is stunning. I am Jim's primary caregiver. The nights are the toughest. Every time Jim needs to turn over or adjust his vent mask to pull up the covers, I need to do that for him, and he needs to somehow communicate that need. Were it not for the support of our amazing grown children, extended family, neighbors, and dear friends, I'm not sure what we would do. ALS is relentless. What do you think our life will be like in 6 months? One thing I know, Jim needs to be here. He's got a new grandbaby and a wedding to attend. As a physician, one of my areas of expertise is reducing errors in medicine. Doctors are naturally focused on getting all the data to make a certain diagnosis before we start treating someone. But we've learned over time that in rapidly progressive, life-threatening illnesses, delaying treatment while awaiting that certainty can cost someone their life. So we start treatment while confirmatory data are coming in. I have watched helplessly as my husband lost the ability to use his hands, then his legs, then his voice. In the face of this 100% fatal disease, delaying access to a safe, promising therapy until a confirmatory trial can be achieved is cruel. Jim and I are both old enough to have lived through the AIDS crisis. When I started residency, there were no treatments, and the medical wards were filled with AIDS patients and their loved ones, the patients dying no matter what we did. Then patients and their loved ones got activated. They fought for more research funding. They fought for early access to therapies. I watched as each new therapy, one by one, turned the disease around. The earliest therapies were less effective and had more side effects, but they saved people's lives while new drugs were added and combined together into cocktails. Like those early HIV activists, we in the ALS community are fighting for more research funding. We are fighting for early access to safe and promising therapies. You have the power to change the landscape of ALS in this Congress, transforming it to a manageable and eventually a curable disease. This is not false hope. It is real hope. We need your urgent action, and we are counting on you. Thank you very much.